Cecily Rook was standing at the moon windows when Alpha King Everett Thorn ordered her bed carried out of the quiet room for Lady Vessa Morn's lunar ceremony. The servants stopped with their hands beneath the narrow iron frame. 20 nights. Cecily had slept nowhere else. Highden required 2 trained watchers, one to hold the sectors, another to verify the ledger and take relief. Cecily's second watcher had been injured during the Eastern Flood Watch 19 nights earlier. 3 requests for a qualified replacement remained unanswered. The quiet room lay deep inside Highden Pack Keep, where hearth smoke could not cloud the silver glass. A wool blanket lay beneath the lowest pane. 3 untouched cups of bitter-leaf tea stood beside Cecily's watch ledger. Her eyes burned and her hands shook, but every patrol redirected through that ledger had returned alive. Lady Vessa entered beneath a white wolfskin mantle, smiling as though she had found Cecily ill rather than displaced. "This is not a punishment," Vessa told the gathered officers. "The chosen Lunar's witness right has been held before the moon glass since Highden's first pack mothers. After the military watches transferred," Cecily said, "the old rite was real. A chosen consort could stand before the central pane only after the active watcher signed release. A trained successor accepted the ledger, and both acknowledged the lowest witness strip. None of those things had happened. Everett stood beside the central pane in the Alpha's black mantle. The Border Council had assured him that outer horn towers could cover 1 ceremonial bell. The memorandum promised signal coverage. It did not claim the towers could replace long-range sight. "Highden cannot surrender a ceremonial room to 1 watchwoman indefinitely," he said. "You called it a watchpost until Lady Vessa wanted it." Vessa lowered her eyes with measured concern. 3 emergency route changes carry captain confirmation but no second watcher countersign. That is not a safe system. The relief post stood empty, which proves my point. Highden should not depend on 1 exhausted woman. The concern was valid. The remedy was not. Cecily lifted the ledger. Each warning carried her entry time, the bell clerk's countermark, the captain's route receipt, and the outcome signed on return. Only the absent relief watcher's line remained blank. "Did you read this?" she asked Everett. "I read the council summary. Did you verify a successor? The horn towers will cover the interval. They can repeat a warning. They cannot see one." Everett had once spent a winter watch beside her and learned the northern pane under her hand. He had promised she would never hold all 9 sectors alone. He had asked whether she ever rested. He had never asked what happened if she did. Lady Vessa approached the central glass. "Your vigilance has served Highden, but service does not become ownership because others failed to relieve you." "My name is not on the deed," Cecily said. "It is on the active watch." Everett's jaw tightened. "The decision stands. Leave the ledger for transfer." "To whom?" No one answered. The servants lifted the bed. Cecily gathered the wool blanket and bone stylus she used to mark patrol changes. The moon windows neither predicted nor judged. Each pane reflected movement along 1 moonlit sector after a trained watcher aligned it to the border stones. The watcher maintained those sectors and remained responsible until lawful release. Lady Vessa placed her palm against the central pane beneath ceremonial authority. The eastern pane went black, not dimmed, black. A second sector failed, then a third, the collapse spreading outward from the central claim. Someone whispered, "Cloud cover." Cecily looked through the courtyard slit. The moon remained white above the keep. "Remove your hand," she said. Vessa did so at once. I followed the rite presented to me. The watch was never released. The 4th pane died. Everett crossed the room and pressed his palm to the glass. His wolf rose behind his eyes, iron grey and furious, but Alpha Force could not restore a broken calibration. "What is happening? The glass cannot hold a lunar claim over an unfinished border watch," Cecily said. "You placed ceremonial authority over military custody. The 5th and 6th panes went blind." An officer turned on her. "What did you do?" You dismantled the watch before asking what kept it open. The seventh pane failed. Remove her, Vessa said. Her report is no longer independently visible. 2 guards approached. Everett lifted one hand. They stopped. Cecily, can you restore the view? She heard what he had not asked. What is this doing to you? No, not without a trained successor and lawful realignment. The 8th pane went dark, then the 9th. Pain struck behind Cecily's eyes. Silver flooded her vision. Her hands shook harder as the room tilted. The view had not chosen her. When an active alignment collapsed before release, the final open sector recoiled into the last calibrated watcher. Any trained watcher caught in the same broken transfer could suffer it. The recoil lasted no longer than 3 bells or sunrise. Sometimes it left permanent damage. Cecily gripped the ledger table. She could not choose another sector or widen the view. Only the western route active at collapse remained, and every blink degraded it. At least 30 riders moved without torches along the Red Fen causeway. River mud hides covered their horses, the masking method used against wolf patrols. They were turning onto the western village road. Everett saw no riders, only their silver movement reflected in Cecily's burning eyes. What do you see? At least 30 riders on the Red Fen causeway. Mud hide screens. Sound the western 3-horn warning. Close the village road and send patrols to confirm their turn. Lady Vessa's voice stayed even. Only Cecily can see them. The warning must be verified. It will be, Everett said. Sound the horns. The first western alarm tore through Highden Pack Keep. Cecily's sight blurred as the last calibrated sector collapsed deeper behind her eyes. The border disappearing, she said. Behind her, every moon window remained blind. The unfinished watch burned inside Cecily, and she had 3 bells before it died or damaged her sight beyond repair. Cecily named the western horn sequence before the Red Fen image could burn out of her sight. 3 long calls, 1 broken, then 3 again, she said. Close the western village road. Redirect the patrol below the causeway and send a second from the village road. If the riders divide, 1 team may miss the second trail. Everett repeated the order. Horns rolled from Highden Pack Keep toward the western towers. A neutral bell clock opened a fresh witnessed page. Time of warning, 9 minutes into the second watch bell. Source? Residual western sector view following failed transfer. The clerk wrote, Independent visual confirmation, none at time of report. Lady Vessa stood beside the blind central pane. Then record that only Cecily can presently see the movement. Record that, Cecily said, and that the image weakens every time I blink. Everett ordered the quiet room sealed against ceremony and unsupervised access. He suspended the lunar ceremony, but did not withdraw Vessa's status or return Cecily's bed. No one touches the panes until the transfer failure is examined. Vessa inclined her head. The blackout may prove failed procedure, not personal unworthiness. I have not ruled otherwise, Everett said. Cecily pressed 2 fingers beneath her burning eyes. Then stop measuring worthwhile. The western road is still open. The healer hooded the lamps and guided Cecily away from the dead panes. A cool, folded cloth rested across her brow between timed reports. The clerk took dictation because Cecily's shaking hand could no longer hold the bone stylus steadily. Her pupils responded unevenly. Fine vessels had broken beneath both eyes. You may lose part of your sight, the healer said. I know. Can you release the image? No. Turn it toward another sector? No. Hold it beyond its limit? No. What ends it? A lawful realignment, sunrise, or the recoil burning itself out? The view held only the western route active when the central pane failed. Each movement and blink fractured the same fixed image. Everett's voice lowered. How many trained watchers can realign the windows? 4 in Highden. 1 is injured, 2 are beyond the inner ridge, the 4th is standing here with the failed alignment inside her. The nearer recalled watcher, At least 4 watch bells away under royal recall. The other is farther north with an active patrol column. No lawful successor could arrive before Cecily's residual sight ended. The Border Council's paperwork arrived beneath seal. On top lay the shortened summary Everett had reviewed. It reduced the operational plan to 1 line: outer horn coverage available for 1 ceremonial bell. The full technical memorandum beneath it preserved 3 omitted conditions: qualified relief, formal release by the active watcher, and continued moon window observation. The horn towers could carry warnings. They could not create them. Cecily looked at Everett. "You accepted coverage of messages as coverage of sight." "Yes. You saw me awake for 20 nights." "Yes. And believed the exhaustion belonged to me, rather than to a post your council left empty." His silence did not excuse him. Lady Vessa studied both documents through the neutral clerk. "The ceremony office received the shortened summary. I was told the evening watch would be complete before I entered." "Who gave that assurance?" Cecily asked. "My officers relied on this page." "That is not an answer." "No," Vessa said evenly. "But until the drafting chain is opened, I will not choose a name from memory and pretend it is evidence." As the second bell interval narrowed, Cecily's residual view dimmed at the edges. She could still As the second bell interval narrowed, Cecily's residual view dimmed at the edges. She could not see faces or allegiance. "Do not write raiders," she told the clerk. "The masking strips resemble raider methods. They resemble a method used against wolf patrols. Route and concealment are facts. Allegiance is not." 1 Western Road patrol was already 2 miles below Red Fen when Cecily's warning reached it. A second moved from the village road to close the western approach. Their findings returned through an outer relay tower, rather than by riders racing back to the keep. Fresh hoof marks crossed the causeway. The ground supported at least 20 mounted bodies. Overlapping prints prevented a full count. Roadwood reeds had been cut low, and strips of mud-dark hide hung from a thorn hedge. The patrol confirmed mounted movement and concealment. It could not confirm Cecily's full estimate, allegiance, or final destination. Lady Vessa exhaled slowly. Then the movement was real. The movement was independently observed. Cecily corrected. "Not every detail of my report." Everett watched her narrow evidence that could have strengthened her own position. "You are still protecting the record from what was done to you. I am protecting Highden from certainty it has not earned." The original watch ledger entered divided custody beneath 2 seals. The neutral bell office held one. The border archive examiner held the other. Neither could open the book alone. 1 authenticated copy entered the archive. Cecily received a second working copy. She could cite it, but not alter the original or add residual reports to its historical pages. Earlier entries were checked against independent records. A northern route correction carried the bell clerk's countermark 12 minutes before the patrol captain recorded fresh tracks beyond the birches. The captain's receiving signature had been made before departure, not after returning. The record supported Cecily's training and timing. It did not make her infallible. The moon windows remained black. Before the third watch bell, the Western Tower's independent log reached the keep. Its first local observation call had been entered several minutes before Lady Vessa touched the central pane. Such a call warned nearby patrols of uncertain movement. A full relay to Highden required a second tower or patrol confirmation. That threshold had not yet been met. The riders had entered the Red Fen route before the moon windows went blind. The record established timing. It did not explain it. Cecily asked for the council summary's drafting chain before timing became evidence of betrayal. The neutral recorder placed the full border memorandum, the shortened council summary, and the ceremony transmission copy beneath separate seals. The memorandum governed military safety, watcher release, qualified succession, and continued visual coverage. The summary governed scheduling, The transmission copy showed what Lady Vessa's ceremony office had received. Everett's royal review mark appeared only on the shortened summary. Lady Vessa remained at the witness side of the table with counsel. Her lunar status had not been revoked. The quiet room stayed sealed, and all 9 moon windows remained blind. "Begin with authorship," Cecily said, "not motive." The full memorandum had been drafted 3 days before the ceremony. It required a trained successor, formal release by the active watcher, and uninterrupted observation during any ceremonial interval. A scheduling summary could shorten descriptive material, but mandatory conditions had to remain in its text or be incorporated through a technical reference. The summary contained neither. No annex number appeared. No line directed the ceremony office to the full memorandum. Everett read the omission without touching the page. "I approved the summary. You approved a sentence that replaced 3 operating conditions," Cecily said. "I did. Did you compare it with the memorandum?" "No." His answer entered the record. The drafting clerk testified through the neutral recorder. She had shortened the document to fit the standard ceremony packet and believed the border office would arrange the military handover separately. "Was that belief written anywhere?" Cecily asked. "No." "Were you told a successor had been appointed?" "No." Lady Vessa's counsel spoke calmly. "Then this may be negligent abbreviation. It does not prove anyone intended to disable the watch." "It does not," Cecily said. "Record the omission and the unwritten assumption that replaced it." The ceremony office had received the shortened summary 2 days before the rite. Its intake mark showed no attached memorandum. Vessa looked toward Everett. "I was given the same scheduling language he approved. That may explain what you believed," Cecily said. "It does not complete the transfer you entered." "No," Vessa replied. "And your private sight does not prove I knew it was incomplete." "Agreed." Neither woman offered certainty the documents could not support. The healer changed the dark cloth across Cecily's brow. Violet shadows spread beneath her eyes, and her left pupil remained slow to contract. "One final timed observation," the healer said. "Then no more light. I cannot end the recoil. You can stop worsening the damage." The residual western image had narrowed to broken motion along the Red Fen route. Cecily could no longer distinguish individual riders. "Count?" the neutral clerk asked. "Not reliable. Phases?" "None." "Direction?" "Westward, at the last clear interval." The limits were entered exactly. Everett maintained the recall order for the 2 absent watchers. The nearest remained several watch bells away. The farther watcher could not abandon the northern patrol column without relief. "Do not order Cecily to begin another alignment when this ends," the healer said. "I will not," Everett answered. Cecily looked at him through the shaded light. "You once promised I would never hold all 9 alone. I remember. You remembered while watching me do it for 20 nights. He had no defense. I will submit my approval decision to the same review as the council chain. That is procedure," she said. "Not repair." "I know." No forgiveness followed. The tower protocol was read into the record next. A local observation call required only uncertain movement near a known route. A full relay to Highden required confirmation from another tower or a patrol. The first local call before the blackout had been properly entered. Patrol confirmation came later, after Cecily's warning redirected personnel already operating near Red Fen. The timing established that movement existed before Lady Vessa touched the central pane. It did not establish that the riders knew the ceremony schedule, that the tower withheld an alarm, or that anyone inside Highden coordinated with them. Cecily's original watch ledger remained beneath divided seals. She used only an authenticated working copy. New residual reports stayed on the neutral clerk's witnessed page. Before the documents were closed again, the recorder compared Everett's reviewed scheduling copy with the palace master ceremony sheet held by the bell office. Everett's copy approved the moonglass interval after the evening sector release. The palace master sheet carried a later palace hour office schedule mark. The mark's matrix shape and seasonal pressure ridge matched lawful hour office impressions. It was authentic. It proved that the Palace Hour Office had recorded an amendment. It did not identify who requested the change, who used the matrix, or who possessed authority to approve the reason. The master sheet moved the ceremony one full watch bell earlier. The ceremony transmission copy matched that time. So did the bell call sheet, servant summons, room preparation order, and ceremony officer arrival ledger. Palace staff had acted upon the new time. The neutral recorder opened the sealed watcher roster and the bell office's sector copy. Both placed Cecily's evening release at the same later hour. Everett's approved schedule began after that release. The amended schedule began while her active watch remained open. A post-review amendment required a written change request, an hour office entry, the entering user's personal credential, an urgency or reason code, and acknowledgement from every office whose active duty was affected. The ceremony office and bell office had received the amended time. No border office acknowledgement appeared. The quiet room notice log contained no entry for it. The personal credential field beneath the authentic hour office mark was blank. The amendment existed. Its supporting request might be misfiled, incomplete, or held in another packet. The current record did not establish that it had never existed. The Palace Hour Office mark showed how the earlier time entered the controlling schedule. It did not show who initiated, entered, approved, or transmitted the decision. The ceremony had been moved into Cecily's active watch. The record proved the overlap. It did not yet name the person behind it. Cecily requested the Hour Office amendment register before an authentic mark became a substitute for a named decision. The neutral recorder brought the register beneath two seals. Beside it lay the Palace Master Ceremony sheet, the ceremony transmission copy, the bell office distribution receipt, and the quiet room notice log. Lady Vessa remained with counsel, her lunar status unchanged. Everett sat behind the witness line. "Authenticate the matrix first," Cecily said. "Then, separate who could use it from who asked for the change." The Palace Hour Office kept one seasonal schedule matrix. 4 titles could lawfully access it: the Hour Master, 2 schedule clerks, and the Night Bell Registrar. No personal name appeared in the impression. "The mark is genuine," the recorder said. "It proves the Palace Hour Office entered the amendment." "It does not prove which authorized user held the matrix," Vessa's counsel said, "or that the user requested or approved the earlier time," Cecily added. The amendment register carried the same revised hour as the Palace Master sheet. Its distribution line showed acknowledgements from the Ceremony Office and Bell Office. The Border Office field remained blank. So did the Quiet Room watch acknowledgement. Everett looked at the empty spaces. Could the change proceed without every acknowledgement? "Only under 2 rules," the recorder said. "A scheduling conflict permits temporary calendar adjustment. It does not suspend notice to an active military post. Only immediate danger may delay full circulation, and that requires a danger code, recorded reason, and later review." The amendment carried the scheduling conflict code. No immediate danger entry appeared. The Hour Office had to send the revised time. Each affected office had to acknowledge it. A blank field did not prove no message had been sent. It proved acknowledgement had not been documented. The personal credential field was also empty. That field would identify the employee who entered the amendment, the recorder said. It would not identify the requester, approving authority, or distributor. Lady Vessa studied the ceremony receipt. "The ceremony office assigned to my right received the earlier hour from the controlling master sheet." Nothing disclosed that Cecily's watch remained active. "That may explain why your officers acted," Cecily said. "It does not explain why the military post lacked notice, nor did it prove Vessa or her household had requested the change." Everett faced the recorder. "Whether I saw the amendment or not, I approved the shortened summary that made this overlap possible. The missing request may explain who altered the hour," Cecily said. It will not erase what you failed to verify before that. No, he answered. The room preparation staff testified separately. One servant had received the summons to clear Cecily's bed before the earlier bell. Another had been ordered to hang the lunar mantle and lower the ceremonial lamps. A third had checked Vessa's arrival against the amended master sheet. All three had acted on the time distributed through the bell office. None knew who requested, recorded, or approved it. The night bell registrar confirmed that the ceremony call had been copied from the master sheet. "Did you see the written request?" the recorder asked. "No." "Did you use the seasonal matrix?" "No." "The sheet was already marked. Did you verify that the border office acknowledged the change?" "I assumed the distribution clerk had sent every copy." That was not the question. The registrar lowered his gaze. "No." The failure entered the record as incomplete supervisory verification, not intentional withholding. His matrix access did not prove he had used it. Cecily's residual sight failed during the testimony. The final Western motion collapsed into white pane, then disappeared. She bent over the table as the healer covered her eyes with a dark cloth. "Can you see the room?" Everett asked. "Light. Shapes. Nothing clear." "No more questions requiring sight," the healer said. "Her left pupil is worsening." The moon windows remained black. The nearest recalled watcher was still more than 2 bells away, and no one attempted a new alignment. "Enter an interim order," Everett said. "No medically unfit watcher may be compelled into alignment. No ceremonial claim may enter the quiet room before signed release, qualified acceptance, and witnessed transfer." Cecily's voice came from beneath the cloth. "That protects the next watcher. It does not repair what you allowed." "No," Everett said. The original watch ledger remained beneath divided seals. Cecily's working copy passed into the neutral clerk's custody when the healer ordered darkness. She had not regained her bed, room, rank, or sole authority. The inquiry continued without her sight. The Hour office searched its request ledger, emergency change book, unfinished supplements, and adjacent packet numbers. The amendment number appeared in the archive index. A scheduling packet with that number was found beneath an intact filing seal. An amendment packet had to contain either the written request or a certified notation that an emergency oral instruction had been used. It also required the reason code, entering credential, distribution receipts, and acknowledgement record. The packet contained the scheduling conflict code, request number, filing mark, and distribution receipts. It contained neither the written request nor a certified oral instruction notation. Its outer checklist marked a written request as required. The final assembly verification field was blank. The filing seal was applied when the assembled packet entered archive custody, the document examiner said. "It rules out opening after archival filing. It does not establish what the packet contained before sealing." Inside lay the distribution receipts and an empty fastening thread. The examiner studied the knot, fiber, puncture points, and pressure beneath the thread. No broken knot, no trapped paper fiber, no compression line sufficient to prove that a sheet was ever secured here. The thread did not prove removal. The request might have been misfiled in an unfinished supplement. The change might have begun as an oral instruction whose certification was never completed. The packet might have been assembled without the request. A sheet might have disappeared before the filing seal was applied. The filing seal ruled out later archive opening. It did not prove the packet had ever been complete. The written request was absent. So was proof that it had ever been fastened inside. Cecily ordered the packet assembly log opened before an incomplete archive became evidence of a stolen page. The healer kept her seated beneath a dark hood, while the neutral recorder read every line aloud. Cecily could distinguish only the pale shape of the table and the movement of hands across it. The moon windows remained blind. The nearest recalled watcher had reached the inner ridge, but had not completed medical review or accepted the sealed ledger. No one attempted a new alignment. Begin before archive custody, Cecily said. Who created the request number, who assembled the packet, and who accepted it for filing are separate roles. The Hour Office records named titles rather than personal culprits. A schedule clerk generated amendment numbers. An assembly clerk gathered supporting pages. An archive intake clerk checked the outer cover and applied the filing seal. None of those functions proved who requested the earlier ceremony. The packet assembly log showed the amendment folder entering preparation shortly after the scheduling conflict mark was made. Its checklist required a written request, an Hour Office credential, distribution receipts, and acknowledgement from affected offices. The request and credential boxes were unresolved. The distribution receipts were marked present. Could the assembly clerk close an incomplete packet? Everett asked. Not as complete, the recorder said. It could remain on the unfinished supplement shelf until missing items arrived. If an emergency oral instruction had been used, a certified notation had to replace the written request, and neither appears in the sealed packet, Cecily said. Correct. Lady Vessa's counsel produced the ceremony office's received copy. It carried the amended time and the Bell Office transmission mark. No request page, requester's name, or military notice accompanied it. The ceremony office assigned to my right received an operational time, Vessa said. It did not receive the authority chain behind that time. That protects your office from assumptions, Cecily replied. It does not prove the chain was complete, nor did the incomplete chain prove that Vessa or her household had shaped it. The Hour Office searched unfinished supplements filed under the amendment number and the two adjacent numbers. One held a delayed acknowledgement from a banquet change. Another contained a corrected bell call. Neither contained the missing request. The assembly shift record showed 2 amendment packets prepared during the same interval. The other packet was complete and carried the entering clerk's personal credential. Then the office knew how to record individual use, Everett said. Yes, the recorder replied. Its absence here is a defect. It is not an identity. Cecily tilted her head toward the voice. Was the incomplete packet listed as held for supplement? No. Was it listed as complete? The final verification field was blank. Then record that it passed into archive custody without a completed status. The archive intake clerk's testimony was taken separately. The clerk remembered receiving a stack of sealed covers near dawn, but could not identify this packet by sight or request number. Did you inspect every interior sheet? The recorder asked. No. Intake verified the cover number, office mark, and assembly status. And this assembly status was blank. I should have returned it. Did you? No. The failure entered the record as incomplete intake review, not evidence that the clerk knew a request was missing. Everett placed his royal scheduling privilege on the table. Open every palace schedule instruction issued from my chambers during that watch, he said. Vessa's counsel looked at him. That exposes private crown business beyond this amendment. Then unrelated matters remain sealed after neutral separation. I will not use royal privacy to narrow an inquiry created by my own approval failure. The order cost him control of records no alpha had previously submitted to an ordinary scheduling review. Cecily did not call it repair. She asked, Will your private chamber record show who spoke to the Hour Office, if such contact was entered? And if it was not, then my surrender proves access, not an answer. That is accurate. The healer lifted the hood only long enough to test Cecily's pupils. Her right eye could follow candle movement. Her left registered only brightness. No more reading, even from enlarged copy, the healer said. I was not reading. You were trying. Cecily lowered her face again. Her working copy of the watch ledger remained with the neutral clerk. Her bed had not been returned. The quiet room remained sealed, and she held no authority to reopen or operate the moon windows. The recorder compared the request number generation book with the packet assembly time. Under ordinary practice, a written request arrived first. The schedule clerk then assigned its number and entered the requester's office. Under urgent verbal practice, a number could be generated before paper arrived, but the source had to be identified and later certified. The amendment number had been created 12 minutes before any written request was logged at the Palace Hour office. Lady Vessa's counsel spoke carefully. "That does not mean no lawful instruction existed." "No," Cecily said. "It means the chain began verbally." The margin beside the generated number contained 4 words. Verbal palace instruction received. No requesting office was entered. No approving authority was entered. The certifying credential beneath the notation was blank. The verbal instruction did not yield a name. It yielded a corridor. The Palace Hour office kept a speaking register for messages delivered without paper. The amendment call had entered through the inner palace line used by royal chambers, ceremony staff, and emergency household officers. 3 offices could reach it. No voice record survived. Lady Vessa's counsel folded her hands. "Then palace source does not mean Lady Vessa." "No," Cecily said beneath the healer's dark hood. "And it does not mean Everett." Everett stood behind the neutral recorder. "But it means the instruction came from inside the keep." "It means someone used an inner palace channel," Cecily corrected. "Do not turn access into identity." The limitation entered the record. Before the next witness was called, the recalled watcher arrived from the inner ridge. She did not enter the quiet room. The healer stopped her at the threshold and ordered an examination first. She had ridden through freezing wind, and her right hand had gone numb around the reins. "You cannot accept 9 sectors with reduced grip and no rest," Cecily said. The watcher looked toward the blind panes. "Highden has no sight. Then Highden must survive without forcing another woman to break for it." Everett's voice was low. "Can 2 impaired watchers restore the alignment together?" "No," Cecily said. "A handover divides responsibility. It does not combine damage into safety." The healer opened the old Watcher Health Register. Its pages carried generations of trained watchers. Most served in pairs. One maintained the sectors while the second rested, checked the ledger, and received the alignment before fatigue deepened. At the back, a narrow column appeared beside every uninterrupted watch. "Sleep debt." Everett leaned closer. "What does that measure?" Cecily said nothing. The healer answered. "The moon windows do not remain clear through attention alone. A calibrated watcher pays for continued distance with the body's ability to sleep." Lady Vessa's expression shifted. "Temporarily? Under proper rotation, the incoming watcher receives the alignment before the outgoing watcher's debt becomes dangerous." "And without relief?" Everett asked. "The active watcher remains awake even when the body tries to fail. The longer the sectors are held, the more sleep is taken from the nights that follow." Everett looked towards Cecily. 20 nights. 20 nights without qualified relief," the healer said. Her body was not refusing sleep. The alignment was consuming it. Silence tightened through the chamber. Cecily lifted the hood enough to face the pale shape of him. "You saw me awake and called it obsession. I thought you would not leave the post. I could not leave it without dropping 9 sectors or handing them to someone trained to receive them. You asked for relief 3 times. "Yes, and I never read the requests." "No." Lady Vessa looked at the health register. "If this mechanism is known, why was it absent from the ceremony summary?" "It belonged to watcher staffing and medical rotation," the healer said, "which the summary assumed another office had handled," Vessa replied. Cecily's mouth tightened. Everyone assumed another office would carry the part that hurt. Everett ordered the 3 unanswered relief requests produced. Each had entered the Border Council packet. The first requested replacement after the Eastcut injury. The second warned that Cecily had lost natural sleep after the 7th night. The third stated that continued solo alignment risked lasting visual harm. All 3 carried intake marks. None carried an appointment decision. The Border Council had not rejected them. It had simply never completed them. "Who held appointment authority?" Everett asked. "The Alpha appointed certified relief after council recommendation." the recorder said. And without recommendation? You could order an emergency medical rotation. Cecily lowered the hood again. You had authority before the 20th night. I know. No. You know now. Before the 20th night, you had convenience. He accepted the words without defense. The moon windows remained blind. The recalled watcher failed the healer's immediate fitness test. The second absent watcher was still beyond the northern ridge. Highden would remain without long-range sight. Everett doubled tower observers, increased patrols, and ordered every western village road watched through dawn. None of those measures replaced the moon windows. Then he placed the health register and Cecily's unanswered requests under divided custody. This is not a private medical failure, he said. It is a command failure under my authority. Cecily did not forgive him, but he had finally named the wound, without asking her to carry his shame. The healer turned to Cecily's examination page. Her residual recoil had ended. The sleep debt had not. How long before she can sleep normally? Everett asked. If an alignment releases cleanly, days. And hers, it did not release cleanly. The healer looked towards Cecily's covered eyes. She may not sleep at all until the moon windows are lawfully realigned. The nearest qualified watcher had just been declared unfit. The other was still beyond the northern ridge. Cecily had paid 20 sleepless nights to keep Highden visible. Now the blind windows might keep taking from her, even while she could no longer see through them. Cecily refused the darkened chamber Everett offered her and asked to be taken out of Highden's command wing before another council could call her wakefulness duty. The healer guided her by the elbow. Cecily could see only pale openings where doors stood and the dark movement of bodies. Everett followed as far as the inner stair. You cannot leave the keep while your sight is unstable. I am not leaving Highden. I am leaving the post you kept empty until it consumed me. The moon windows still require lawful realignment. Then find a fit watcher and build the system you should have maintained. His voice tightened. You may not sleep until that happens. I have not slept because your officers found my suffering convenient. Do not make the danger another chain. She continued down the stair. The recalled watcher remained under medical restriction. The northern watcher could not reach the keep before the following night. Everett ordered temporary quarters for Cecily in the lower healing wing, away from the sealed, quiet room. She accepted the bed because the healer required observation. She refused every document naming her acting watcher. Lady Vessa met the neutral recorder outside the healing chamber. If Cecily withdraws from command, who holds authority over border reports? She asked. The temporary patrol board, Everett said. That board cannot interpret the moon windows. The moon windows are blind, and the woman who understands their failure is walking away. Cecily stopped at the doorway. I am not withholding knowledge. I gave you the transfer rules, sector maps, health register, and warning records. What I will not give is another night of my body in place of an institution. Vessa's expression remained controlled. Highden may hear that as abandonment. Then Highden may read the 3 unanswered relief requests before deciding who abandoned whom. The neutral recorder entered the exchange. By afternoon, Highden's outer towers carried twice their usual observers. Patrols rode shorter circuits because no one could watch 9 distant sectors at once. Horn relays required line-of-sight confirmation, and fog gathered over the lower roads. A western patrol missed its relief signal and returned 2 hours late after finding the village road blocked by felled branches. A northern supply column turned back when 2 tower calls contradicted each other. No one died, but winter grain and medicine remained outside the keep. The Border Council asked Cecily to review the reports. She listened while the clerk read them aloud. Which route should the northern column take? Everett asked. Neither report gives enough verified ground. You know those sectors better than anyone. I knew them through aligned panes and signed patrol receipts. I will not turn memory into sight because the Alpha needs certainty. If the column remains outside, the medicine may freeze. Then send ground scouts and protect the wagons. That costs hours. So did leaving the relief post empty for 19 days. Everett ordered the scouts. He did not command Cecily back into service. Near dusk, the healer found her still awake beneath the dark hood. Any natural sleep? No. The healer checked her pulse. Your body is exhausted enough to fail, but the unfinished alignment is holding the sleep debt. Cecily's fingers closed around the blanket. Can it kill me? It can damage the heart, mind, or eyes if it continues. Everett stood beyond the curtain and heard every word. Do not come in, Cecily said. I won't. You do not get to watch closely now because you failed to look before. I know. Knowing is not standing outside a curtain while another woman measures what you allowed. He remained there but did not cross. Before midnight, the northern scouts returned. The safest route remained open, but the delayed column had lost 2 crates of medicine to frost. The western patrol confirmed the trees had been cut by tools, though no tracks survived the wet ground. The evidence proved pressure on Highden's roads. It did not identify the Red Fen riders or their purpose. Everett called a command council without Cecily and ordered every member to submit the unanswered relief requests, staffing decisions, and scheduling failures for public review. He suspended his own authority to appoint a sole moon window watcher until the health register and transfer rules were rewritten under neutral oversight. Lady Vessa opposed the order. You are weakening the Alpha office during an active border threat. I weakened the border when I treated one woman's collapse as coverage, and if she never returns, then the system must work without owning her. Cecily heard the words through the healing room door. They did not restore trust. They removed the demand she had expected him to make. At the next watch bell, the Northern Watcher finally reached Highden. She was medically fit. The quiet room could now be reopened for lawful realignment. The healer prepared Cecily for the chance that her sleep debt would release once another Watcher accepted the sectors. Everett sent the acceptance form to her bedside. Cecily did not sign. At the bottom of the form, the new Watcher was required to accept all 9 panes alone. Cecily refused to sign the acceptance form until the line assigning all 9 panes to one Watcher was struck from it. The Northern Watcher stood beside the sealed quiet room door, medically cleared and unwilling to pretend the form was safe. If I sign this, she said, I inherit the same failure that broke Cecily. Everett took the page from the clerk. It is the standard form. Cecily sat beneath the healer's dark hood, seeing only candle haze. So was the summary you approved. He read the line again. One successor shall accept full custody and continuous alignment of all 9 sectors. Then he tore the royal approval strip from the bottom. No one signs it. Lady Vessa's council rose. Highden cannot remain blind while the Alpha rewrites military procedure during a threat. The procedure left one Watcher awake for 20 nights, Everett said. I will not call repetition urgency. Cecily turned toward his voice. Do not replace one command with another made from guilt. I am not asking you to trust the order. Then let the Watchers write it. Everett summoned the Watcher health registers, transfer books, and Cecily's unanswered relief requests. Before the Border Council, he read the requests aloud and entered his failure beside each one. Cecily Rook did not refuse rest. He said, Highden failed to provide it. Her warnings were recorded, countermarked, and used to return patrols alive. I treated the cost as obsession because that was easier than admitting the post was understaffed under my authority. Vessa remained composed. Public responsibility does not solve tonight's blindness. No, Cecily said. But false urgency is how institutions make a woman's body into emergency equipment. The Northern Watcher requested a temporary custody transfer without active sector opening. The old forms allowed a qualified successor to accept responsibility for a sealed watch while the panes remained dark. It required the outgoing Watcher's release, the successor's acceptance, and joint acknowledgement of the lowest witness strip. It would end Cecily's unfinished duty without forcing another Watcher to open all 9 panes. Everett did not touch the decision. The Watchers determine whether the transfer is safe, he said. The Crown will witness, not command. The healer approved it. The neutral recorder prepared a new form, stating that no sector would open until a shared watch plan was accepted. Cecily listened to every line. Add that medical refusal cannot be overruled by Alpha or Lunar authority. The clerk added it. Add that no watcher may hold more than 3 sectors without a second watcher present. Vessa's counsel objected. That ratio has not been tested during an incursion. Neither was 20 nights alone, Cecily replied. The Northern Watcher signed acceptance. Cecily was guided to the lowest witness strip. Her fingers found the cold silver edge. The successor placed her hand beside Cecily's while the recorder called the time. I release the unfinished watch, Cecily said. I accept sealed custody. The Northern Watcher answered. No active sectors. No soul alignment. The glass remained black, but the pressure behind Cecily's eyes loosened so suddenly that her knees failed. Everett moved first and stopped before touching her. The healer caught Cecily and lowered her into a chair. Is the sleep debt releasing? Everett asked. It is no longer being renewed, the healer said. What was taken will not return in one night. Cecily lifted the hood enough to face his blurred shape. Do not stand near me as though restraint is repair. He stepped back. Where should I stand? At the council table. Give up the authority that made this possible. He did. Before midnight, Everett suspended Alpha and Lunar control over moon window staffing, release, and medical fitness. He created an interim Watchwomen's Command made up of the 4 trained watchers, 2 neutral border recorders, and 1 healer with power to halt any alignment. The order could not be revoked by the Alpha alone. Lady Vessa looked at the seal. You are placing a military institution beyond the Lunar's ceremonial authority. I am placing military sight beyond ceremonial possession, and if Cecily never serves again, then the law must remain worth having. The quiet room was not returned to Cecily. Her bed remained in the healing wing. Her title and permanent authority were unresolved. Everett did not ask whether she would return. He ordered her ledger, relief requests, and medical register read before the Pack Council at dawn. Afterward, the healer brought Cecily to a dark chamber and waited for natural sleep. Everett remained outside. You may leave, Cecily said. I know. Then, why are you still there? Because I once promised you would never hold all 9 alone, and I want to hear the moment that promise stops costing you. You do not get to make my sleep part of your absolution. No. His footsteps moved away. For the first time in 21 nights, Cecily slept. She woke less than an hour later to the recorder's voice beyond the curtain. The palace speaking register had yielded one detail. The verbal instruction moving the ceremony forward had entered through the inner line assigned to the lunar preparation rooms. Cecily asked how many people could use the lunar preparation line before anyone treated access as confession. The speaking register identified the room, not the voice. During ceremony preparation, the line could be reached by Lady Vessa, the assigned ceremony officers, the mantelkeeper, and 2 palace attendants carrying sealed instructions between rooms. Lady Vessa remained beside council. Then the line narrows the source to a preparation area, she said. It does not narrow it to me. No, Cecily replied from beneath the healer's dark hood. And I will not let the Pack replace one unsupported certainty with another. Everett ordered every credential and duty interval preserved. He did not suspend Vessa's lunar status. The neutral recorder asked whether Cecily wished to continue the amendment inquiry. I want the access record completed, she said. But Highden is still blind because its law expects a woman to be consumed before it calls relief necessary. The Watchwomen's interim command had drafted a permanent charter during the hour Cecily slept. She required every line read aloud. No watcher could hold more than 3 panes without a second trained watcher present. Every active alignment required medical fitness, named relief, and assigned end time. An unanswered relief request would pass automatically to neutral review. Ceremonial authority could not enter the quiet room during an active watch. Neither Alpha nor Luna could override medical refusal or appoint a sole watcher. Everett listened without altering the terms. Lady Vessa's counsel raised one objection. "You are placing border sight beyond the final command of the Alpha." "Final command closed 9 panes," Cecily said. "Shared command may keep them open." Everett removed the royal override clause from the old Watcher Code. "I accept the charter." Cecily turned toward his voice. "Acceptance is not enough. Can the next Alpha revoke it alone?" "No. Amendment will require the Watchwomen's command, 2 neutral border recorders, and a public pack hearing. And the Lunar office may witness. It may not possess the room." Lady Vessa's face remained composed. "Then my right loses an old ceremonial right because one transfer failed." "It loses priority over an active military watch," Cecily said. "The right may continue when the room is lawfully released." The distinction entered the charter. Before the Pack Council, Everett read Cecily's 3 ignored relief requests and the medical finding that the windows had consumed her natural sleep. Cecily Rook was not unstable, possessive, or unwilling to rest, he said. She continued because Highden left no qualified successor at her post. "I saw the cost and chose ceremony over verification. He restored her warnings, route corrections, and 20-night service to the official watch record under her name. He did not restore her room or command her return. The choice to serve again is hers," he said. "The charter stands if she never does." Cecily heard the room shift around those words. She had wanted him to understand before understanding could benefit him. That loss remained. "I will take 1 elected seat on the Watchwomen's command," she said. "Not the sole chair. Not the living price of 9 panes." Everett bowed his head. "Under your terms, under the Charter's terms." The Northern Watcher and the second recalled Watcher were both medically cleared by dusk. 2 women could safely hold 6 sectors between them. 3 panes would remain closed until a 3rd fit Watcher was available. The Border Council urged a full opening. "Highden cannot defend half a map," one officer said. "Then Highden must train more Watchers," Cecily replied. "I will not turn urgency into permission to break another woman." She refused to authorize 9 pane alignment. She approved 6. The quiet room reopened under the Watchwomen's command, not for ceremony and not as Cecily's private chamber. Her bed remained in the healing wing. Cecily stood outside the threshold while the 2 watchers signed acceptance. She could not see the glass clearly, but she recited the sector markers from memory while the neutral recorder checked them against her authenticated ledger copy. The lowest witness strip brightened. 3 northern panes opened first. Then 3 western panes cleared into cold silver. The remaining glass stayed black. Cecily's knees weakened, but no recoil entered her sight. The new alignment belonged to the women who had lawfully accepted it. "What do the western panes show?" she asked. "Mounted movement near the old ford," one watcher said. "The same group or part of it. They are no longer taking the village road. Direction? Southwest. Waiting beneath the bare ridge." A second watcher leaned closer. "One rider has separated from them." "Do not follow beyond your assigned sector," Cecily warned. "I am not." The rider entered the ford marker. The council gathered behind the witness line. Lady Vessa remained among them. In the western pane, a hooded figure raised a narrow silver lantern. 3 shutters opened. 1 long, 2 short. Across the ridge, the waiting riders turned as one body toward the old Morn Road. The neutral recorder opened Lady Vessa's sealed ceremony instructions. The same lantern sequence appeared beside the words, "Private Lunar Procession Signal." Cecily stopped the council before anyone called the lantern sequence proof of Lady Vessa's guilt. "A shared signal proves shared knowledge," she said. "It does not prove who sent that rider or why the others turned." The 2 watchwomen kept their hands on the 6 active panes. Neither widened her assigned sector. Vessa stood beneath the witness line. "That signal belongs to old lunar processions," she said. Copies exist in ceremony manuals and escort drills. Then compare the instructions, lantern custody, and road movement before naming an alliance. Everett halted the private procession and ordered every silver lantern secured under neutral count. He did not arrest Vessa on one matching signal. The Western Watcher spoke without leaving the glass. The separated rider reached the old Morn road marker. Another lantern is answering from the tree line. Pattern? 1 short. 3 long. The neutral recorder opened Vessa's ceremony instructions. The reply sequence appeared beside. Escort passage confirmed. Vessa's counsel rose. The book may have been copied. Open the sealed master, Cecily said. Both patterns appeared in the master. Beside them stood an entry missing from the public ceremony packet. Western escort to wait beyond the old ford until the central moon-glass interval began. Vessa's jaw tightened. That concerns a ceremonial escort. Where is its roster? Everett asked. None had been filed. No Highden riders had been assigned to the ford. The active watchwomen reported only what the panes showed. 12 riders turned toward the old Morn road after the second signal. The rest remained outside the western village route. Everett sent ground patrols from 2 directions and ordered the ford closed. Cecily stayed outside the quiet room threshold. Contain the crossing, she said. Preserve whoever carries the answering lantern. You are commanding from a room you refuse to reclaim, Vessa said. I am advising under the charter. The watchwomen decide what the panes support. The route supports containment, the Northern Watcher said. Before dawn, patrols returned with 3 riders and 1 Highden courier. The silver shutter lantern was recovered intact. The courier's outer cloak carried no lunar crest, but its fastening cord bore the preparation room inventory number entered before the ceremony. Inventory can be taken or misplaced, Vessa's counsel said. Agreed, Cecily replied. Open the packet. Inside were payment tallies for felled trees, masked movement through Red Fen, and withdrawal upon the lunar escort signal. The orders limited the riders to creating pressure on western roads without entering the villages. The packet carried Vessa's personal countersign. Vessa closed her eyes once. You arranged the riders? Everett said. I arranged fear, she answered. Not slaughter. The council would never accept a lunar with border authority while Cecily remained indispensable. You moved the ceremony into an active watch. I requested an earlier interval. I did not know the windows would collapse. The courier packet contained a copy of the verbal instruction. Move the lunar ceremony forward 1 bell, scheduling conflict, distribute through the controlling sheet. Vessa had authorized the request. Nothing proved she personally entered the Hour Office amendment or ordered the missing acknowledgements. She had used the shortened summary without asking what safety conditions it omitted. Cecily faced the blurred white shape of her. You treated my exhaustion as a political obstacle. I treated your usefulness as power no one had granted. I had responsibility without authority, Cecily said. You wanted authority without responsibility. The Pack Council heard every word. Vessa's lunar status was suspended pending judgment. Her household records and payment accounts entered divided custody. The concealed alliance and manufactured border pressure were established. Everett stood before Highden. I gave Lady Vessa the quiet room, because I valued political certainty over the woman keeping this pack safe. I approved an incomplete summary, ignored 3 relief requests, and refused Cecily's warning while her watch remained active. He did not blame Vessa for his choice. The Watchwomen's Charter becomes permanent law. The Lunar Office will never possess military sight. No Alpha may appoint a sole watcher, overrule medical refusal, or revoke this charter alone. He surrendered the final royal override seal. Cecily accepted her elected command seat. She refused the title of First Watcher and required 6 new women to be trained before all 9 panes could open together again. The quiet room became a shared military post with no bed, throne, or ceremonial mantle inside it. Weeks later, Cecily's right eye cleared enough to read large script. Her left retained a silver blur. Sleep returned in fragments. Everett visited only when invited. She found him outside the watchwomen's chamber, carrying the corrected relief roster and no seal. "You kept every replacement shift," she said. "The system had to work if you never returned. That is the first promise you made without making me responsible for keeping it." He met her gaze. "May I walk with you? Not as my alpha, as Everett." Cecily considered the man, who had learned that love without attention was another form of abandonment. She offered him her hand. Not forgiveness completed, not trust restored, a choice begun under rules she had helped write. Behind them, 6 moon windows held the border in steady silver. 3 remained dark until Highden trained enough women to open them safely. For the first time, Cecily did not stay awake to keep the pack from losing sight.